As someone who loves to watch videos about other people's sketching kits, I've been buying a lot of art materials over the past 2 years. And today I want to tell you about the sketching materials that I regret buying. All of these products are very popular within the art community and there is nothing wrong with any of them. But what I want to do is tell you exactly why they didn't work for me and also give you some better alternatives. The first product is a very popular one in the art and sketching YouTube, and it is the Etchr Slate Mini. So Etchr is an Australian brand that made a few bags and satchels for artists and for sketching outside specifically, and these are very well thought with special areas for all of your tools. And the point of the Etchr Slate and the Etchr Slate Mini, which is the one that I bought, is that you can have it with a strap and you can unfold it in front of you as a way to have your sketchbook on top of it and to be able to draw or paint and access all of your materials and have kind of a moving table. And the idea is great, but I had a few problems with it. I just don't like how it looks. It has a very modern, sleek, streetwear, sportswear, I don't know, look, grey with Velcro, and that's just not something that I like. I get that it looks modern and neutral and clean, and it is probably appealing to a lot of people, so I suppose it is a good design, but that's not really my aesthetic, and so that's just not a bag that I want to wear. But despite this, I was still excited to get it and to try it because I thought it was going to be so convenient. But the main problem that I had with it is that it is too heavy for me. It is 1.3 kilos, and the entire point for me was to be able to have my sketchbook without having to hold it and to support the weight of the sketchbook with my arm. But the thing is that 1.3 kilos for a bag could be okay for me if this bag had replaced my everyday bag that I carry with me when I am outside with my, just a few things, some water. The problem is that the way it is made, I can't use it to put snacks, water, all of these essentials that I want to have with me outside. And so I would carry my bag, usually a small backpack, plus this thing. And that means I was carrying an extra 1.3 kilos. I have used mine 3 times, I believe, and then I didn't want to take it outside again because of the weight, and I ended up selling it. So I have 2 better options for you. The first one is super simple, super cheap. It is to just have a drawing board with holes at each opposite corner and a strap. If you really want to have this kind of table support while drawing standing, this is going to work great. And if you also want to have all of your art materials available, you can have either a waist bag or a small bag with a strap, and that way it's going to be super accessible, it's not going to add any weight, and it's also a super cheap option. But actually I haven't used this option because the alternative that I went for is that I just don't use a sketchbook anymore. I prefer to use loose sheets of paper, and having this system is so much lighter than a full-size sketchbook that I just don't need to have the strap support in order to be able to draw with it standing. By the way, if you love sketching outside, I have a free sketching kits guide that I put together with all of my favorite materials as well as a few kit suggestions. So if you want it, you can get it for free when you subscribe to my newsletter, and the link will be in the description below. The second product I don't regret as much just because it was very inexpensive and I wanted to give it a try. I didn't have high expectations, but I was still a little bit disappointed. It is the Sennelier Ink Brush, and it is a water brush, meaning that you have a plastic container inside the handle and it is keeping some liquid in it. In this case, it comes with ink inside, and I was interested in this one because I love drawing with a brush. I find that for sketching especially, it allows me to have a very expressive line. So I wanted to try this one because the ink is water soluble. So if you have another water brush, this one with water, you can actually add some water to it and create some interesting effects, and I thought it was going to be very nice. But it didn't work for me for 3 reasons. The first one is that the brush is too thick for my taste, which I wasn't expecting at all, because I use the Pentel aquash brushes a lot and I only use the large one. So I am used to having a fairly large water brush and I can still get some details. So I thought the Sennelier was going to be the same, but I found it much harder to get some of the fine lines and fine details that I would need in order to use this as a standalone sketching tool. But yeah, it was just too thick, and also I don't know if it is because I've been keeping it with the bristles down, but I found that the ink flow, it was just flowing too much. It was just putting too much ink on the page and it wasn't working at all for me. I only tried it at home because the third problem I have with it is that it is much longer than your standard water brush, and for this reason it doesn't fit in my pencil case. Which is a shame, but at the same time I get that since the product comes with ink inside, the longer the handle, the more ink they can put inside and the better the value of the product. So that makes sense, but for this reason it just doesn't work at all for me, and I don't think I am really ever going to use it because I don't see myself using this at home. And in terms of better alternatives, I have two for you. The first one, very simple, just get a Pentel Aquash water brush or another water brush that you like. You can fill it with a mix of ink and water and experiment with different fountain pen inks or dip pen inks or other drawing painting inks and see what effects you can get. And the other one is what I actually take outside with me when I want to sketch with a brush, and it is another Pentel product. I believe it is called the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. It is similar to a fountain pen because it comes with cartridges of ink, so it is refillable, which I really like, and this one isn't water soluble, so it is water resistant ink, which is nice if you want to add some watercolor on top and not have it bleeding. And I love it because it can give very fine, very precise, delicate lines and also much thicker lines. It is a real brush with bristles, not a felt brush tip. And yeah, that's what I was trying to replace and trying to see if another brand and ink was going to work for me. I was expecting a similar result and I didn't get it. This one is much better, so that's the one I would recommend. And just as a note, it comes in different colors, so usually you're going to see it in black because most people use black ink, but you can also find it in grey, in sanguine, and in brown, sepia brown. The next item on the list is not a specific product from a brand, but it is a category of products, and it is watercolor in pans. There is nothing wrong, in my opinion, with watercolor in pans. Some people I know really prefer the tubes. I am not one of them. I don't mind the pans, but the problem that I had is that I prefer not to have the same palette at home and for sketching outside. I like to have a more extended palette at home, and I prefer to use a ceramic palette when I am here. But when I am outside, I want fewer colors, and of course I want a metal, small, compact palette to take outside. But I also like to have the same colors, so that the colors that I have inside my sketching kit are the same as the ones that I have at home. And the way I am painting at home, I am often creating some big washes of paint for which it is much easier to have some tubes. So for this reason, I think it would have been cheaper and more economic for me to get some paint in tubes and to fill my own pans for outside. So that's really the alternative, to get your watercolor paint in tubes and to fill your own pans or your own palette for outside. You don't even need pans. You can just make a watercolor palette with what you have around, or you could just have one palette that you have at home and outside. This product is super popular in the urban sketching and fountain pen YouTube communities, and I haven't seen people really having any problem with it, but it is the Twisby Eco fountain pen. The reason why I like fountain pens for sketching is because I prefer to have items in my sketching kit that are refillable, that I am going to keep for many years, and I like this idea of having a kit of tools that are durable. Not only for the environment, but just because I get attached to them and I have a positive feeling when I have such a kit on me. So for this reason, I prefer fountain pens, and the Twisby Eco is very nice because it has a piston filler. That means that you don't put a cartridge inside, you dip it inside a bottle of ink and you twist it, and the ink gets inside the body of the fountain pen, which allows it not only to hold a lot more ink than a cartridge would, but also you can use any ink that you want. These are the two reasons why it is so popular, and I definitely agree with it. It is a great fountain pen. The problem that I had with it is that the very first fountain pen that I got for drawing as an artist. Okay, it wasn't my very first one, it was my second one. The first one was crappy. The second one was extremely nice. It is a Pilot Custom 74 soft fine nib. I am not sure that it is all in the right order, but that's the fountain pen. And it also comes with a converter allowing you to put your own ink inside, so it is customizable. But this one is very nice. It is very reliable, and the nib has just a little bit of line variation. It doesn't give you as many possibilities as a dip pen would, of course, but it has a little bit of line variation, allowing you to go from very thin lines to just a little bit of thickness. And for me, that's what makes this fountain pen so nice to use. And I got the Twisby Ecos, because I have more than one, just after this one, because this is such a nice fountain pen that I didn't want to take it outside in my sketching kit, and I thought the Twisby Eco being more affordable, I wouldn't be as afraid having it on me outside, and I could have 2 or 3 ones filled with different colors of inks, allowing me to use different inks outside. So I got a few ones, and I trusted the reviews, and I trusted that it was going to be a very nice fountain pen and I was going to love it. And I didn't. Not because it is bad, but because my other one is so nice that it doesn't compare, and I just don't want to use the Twisby Ecos. This one I really regret buying, because one Twisby Eco isn't super expensive, but I got 2 of them, and I then tried other fountain pens, and in the end it would just have been the same price, I think, to get myself another of the fountain pen that I actually know I like. And that's my better alternative for this one. If you have an art product that you know you like, really don't try to go out of your way to try what the internet tells you is nice. Just stick with what you know, stick with what you love, and you're going to save a lot of money. You should definitely check out this video about my sketching kit that I'm going to link right now. Thank you for watching this one, stay creative, and I will see you there.